New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Prasar Bharati. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's External Affairs Minister to co-chair the 10th India-Republic of Korea Joint Commission meeting in Seoul to also meet with South Korean dignitaries. US Supreme Court unanimously restores Donald Trump to the Colorado primary ballot. Trump calls for presidential immunity. France becomes world's first country to make abortion a constitutional right. May take place until 14 weeks after conception. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be in Telangana today, where he will dedicate to the nation the Civil Aviation Research Organisation Centre in Hyderabad on Tuesday. CARO has been set up at Begumpet Airport in Hyderabad to upgrade and enhance the research and development activities in the civil aviation sector. This state-of-the-art facility is compliant with 5-star Griha rating and Energy Conservation Building Code norms. He will inaugurate, dedicate and lay the foundation stone of multiple development projects worth rupees 6,800 crores in Sangareddy, Telangana. These projects encompass multiple key sectors like road, rail, petroleum and natural gas. Later in the day, he will visit Odisha, where he will inaugurate, dedicate and lay the foundation stone of multiple development projects worth over rupees 19,600 crores in Chandikol, Jajpur. Earlier on Monday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was in Tamil Nadu, where he observed the commencement of core loading for India's 500 MWE prototype fast breeder reactor at Kalapakkam Nuclear Complex. This event, managed by Bhavini, that is Bharatiya Nabhikya Vidyut Nigam Limited, signifies a significant achievement in India's nuclear power journey. Our correspondent spoke to KV Suresh Kumar, CMD of Bhavini. Let's listen in.
We are right now in Bhavini's Kalpakam Center, which is, putting India in world map. Why I'm saying that? Because they have the first fast breeder reactor, which is currently operationalized. And I have with me the CMD of Bhavini. Sir, tell us more about this.
In the second stage of nuclear reactors, we use the fast reactors for converting the spent fuel from the first stage reactor and produce electricity, as well as we consume. We produce more fuel than what it is consumed. So if you take 100 kg of plutonium is used for electricity production, we approximately get around 110 kg of the fuel. So that way we can sustain the reactor. So in nutshell, if you have 10 reactors operating in the country of the second stage reactor, every year we will get fuel equivalent to one more reactor. This reactor has got some more advantages. It can use the thorium as the blanket, which can be converted to uranium, thereby producing the fuel for the third stage reactors.
Right.
Then this reactor has got a very high efficiency compared to the first stage reactor, wherein the efficiency is only 30%, whereas the second stage reactor we have got around 40% efficiency. And third and most important thing is, this reactor has got highest safety standards.
I think Russia is the only country right now currently which has the capability of a fast breeder reactor, and this is what starts. You guys are starting a movement in India's electricity generation and at the same time becoming net zero by 2070.
Yes, actually many countries have tried, but presently they have shut down the reactor because they wanted to go for almost the design requirement as well as the safety standard as what we have for this reactor. So they are doing a lot of research on this one. At present, only Russia is having commercial reactor, and when this reactor goes commercial, we will be the second country after Russia to have a commercial reactor producing the electricity of this magnitude.
I wanted to show you guys that it's not just one person who is responsible to start this huge revolution in India's energy journey. You see this whole lot of people who are here, they are part of this revolution, starting what many will call India's next gen in nuclear energy. With camera person Janardhan, this is Tapush Bhattacharya for DD India from Kalpakam in Tamil Nadu.
And External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will begin his 4-day visit to South Korea and Japan from Tuesday. Dr. Jaishankar will visit Seoul on the first leg of his visit, where he will co-chair the 10th India-South Korea Joint Commission meeting with his counterpart Cho Tae-yul. During the visit, Dr. Jaishankar is also expected to meet with South Korean dignitaries, heads of think tanks and the Indian community. In the second leg of his visit, Dr. Jaishankar would be in Japan, where he will participate in the 16th India-Japan Foreign Ministers Strategic Dialogue with Japanese counterpart Yoko Kamikawa. The two ministers are expected to discuss issues of bilateral, regional and global importance and exchange views on cooperation for a free, open, inclusive, peaceful and prosperous Indo-Pacific. Dr. Jaishankar will also participate in the first Raisina Roundtable at Tokyo. The roundtable is a key step towards enhancing Track 2 exchanges between India and Japan. He is expected to interact with business leaders, think tanks and academia, building upon strong cultural and people-to-people ties. An Indian delegation presented a copy of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita to the Parliament of Sri Lanka as part of the International Gita Mahotsav on Monday. A 100-member delegation presented the copy to Speaker of the Parliament, Mahinda Yapa Abeyewardene. On the occasion, the Speaker expressed gratitude and said that Bhagavad Gita was not just for Bharat, but for entire humanity. He added that if all humans could get the message of Bhagavad Gita, problems would not have existed today. Preferring to refer to India as Bharat, Abeyewardene said that Sri Lanka has been following Bharat's tradition through a great son of Bharat, Lord Buddha. He added that Sri Lanka had been a part of Bharat at one stage.
Bhagavad Gita is for humanity. It's for humanity among all of us. So that belongs to everybody. If you can get all the human beings to understand what Bhagavad Gita, you would not have had a lot of the problem that we are having today. Bhagavad Gita is something not for you all. It is not for Bharata. I don't say India, it is Bharata. So this is the gift that has been given to the human beings in the world by Bharata. So Lord Buddha said compassion. Lord Buddha was inspired with this Bhagavad Gita to a certain extent.
The Indian Navy is conducting the first edition of the 3-day Naval Commanders Conference of 2024 commencing today. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will witness the twin carrier operations of the Indian Navy during its inaugural session at sea. The Chief of Defence Staff, along with the Chiefs of the Indian Army and Indian Air Force, will also engage with the naval commanders during the conference to discuss the convergence of the three services in light of the common national security environment. The annual event is crucial for charting the course of the Navy's future amidst a rapidly evolving maritime environment. Mera Pehla Vote Desh Ke Liye is a powerful campaign aimed at empowering the youth of India to actively participate in the democratic process. This campaign seeks to enlighten and inspire first-time voters about the crucial role they play in shaping the nation's future. Here's a report by DD India correspondent Kriti Vadhera.
Mera Pehla Vote Desh Ke Liye is an urge to young voters to simply cast their ballots. It strives to cultivate a dynamic and cooperative atmosphere. This campaign is designed to spark the imagination of the youth, inviting them to actively shape the future of nation through a series of creative competitions by fostering a competitive yet collaborative environment. The initiative taps into the diverse talents of the youth, encouraging them to express their visions for a better India.
Oh, it's a wonderful initiative taken by the Ministry of Education. In fact, this is where it has to get started in their learning that they have to take the sense of ownership in the governance of the country. Tomorrow they're going to be the corporate leaders, and I want them to start from here today their learning.
With 18.5 million first-time voters registered for the 2024 general elections, the Ministry of Education is actively organizing awareness activities in higher education institutions. These initiatives to inform and empower first-time voters, encouraging them to understand the electoral process and recognize the impact of their votes.
As a first voter who is not very familiar with the political scenario that is currently in our nation, it is very important for every one of us to be aware of what things are going around us.
As a teenager, as a kid, I've seen my parents taking out time every 5 years to go diligently and vote and get that ink on their index finger. So it was always exciting for me as a teenager. It was just exciting in general. But now that I understand the importance of democracy and how voting is a very important pillar as part of this country, as part of the democracy that this country is, I feel even more enthusiastic about it.
With great power comes great responsibility. We are being franchised for the first time in our life. We have been given this special power and privilege to elect the people we want, something which is the ethos of democracy. And I, for one, am very fortunate to get a chance to take part in this.
As citizens of this nation and educated people, as the youth who decide which government is going to rule our nation for the upcoming years, it is a matter of utmost responsibility that we vote for the right person, for the right party, and we involve this decision with utmost research and carefulness.
मेरा पहला वोट देश के लिए goes beyond being just a campaign for first-time voters. It embodies a sense of patriotism, call to a responsibility, and indeed a very good chance for the first-time voters to be the architects in shaping the destiny of Viksit Bharat, or the developed India, by 2047. With camera person Ajay Kumar, I am Kriti Vadhera reporting from New Delhi for DD India.
From their exposition in Bangkok, Lord Buddha's relics and the Arahant's relics will on Tuesday go to Chiang Mai city in northern part of the country for 4 days. Then the relics will be taken to Ubon Ratchathani in northeastern Thailand on March 10 for next 4 days, and then to beach town of Krabi in southern Thailand on March 15. Concluding a historic and spiritually enriching exposition in the Southeast Asian country, this sacred journey will culminate on March 19, with the relics being escorted back to their respective homes in India. All right, and let's take a look at other stories making news today. The India Meteorological Department has forecast a fresh spell of rain and snowfall over the western Himalayan region from Tuesday till Thursday. Light to moderate rainfall is likely over Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Gilgit, Muzaffarabad, Himachal Pradesh and over Uttarakhand. Indian Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav on Monday launched the Chakshu facility on the Sanchar Saathi portal to empower citizens to proactively report suspected fraud communication. He also launched a digital intelligence platform for coordination among the stakeholders to curb misuse of telecom resources in cybercrime and financial frauds. Indian Union Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia inaugurated India's first green hydrogen plant in stainless steel sector in Haryana on Monday. The project aims to reduce carbon emissions by 2,700 million tons per annum and 54,000 tons of CO2 emissions over a period of 20 years. This is a significant step towards achieving India's net zero targets. And still to come on this edition of the India Live. NATO kicks off its military exercises in the Nordic countries. Newest member Finland and upcoming Sweden are the co-hosts. International Atomic Energy Agency Chief Rafael Grossi to meet Russian President Vladimir Putin. Well, you stay with us to know more. And for the first time ever, India's women's and men's table tennis teams qualify for the Olympics through the World Team Rankings.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. And the US Supreme Court has ruled that states cannot exclude Donald Trump from voting ballots. The former president has thanked the court for ruling in his favor, calling the judgment a big win for America. It comes after a court in the state of Colorado ruled Trump should be disqualified from re-election as January's 6th attack on the Capitol building amounted to insurrection. Nick Harper reports from Washington.
America's highest court took up the case after Colorado ruled that Trump's name would not appear when voters cast their ballots on Super Tuesday. A court in the state said last year that the former president was constitutionally unfit to hold office again. The Colorado judges relied on the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, which says a person should be barred from office if they've been involved in insurrection. And Colorado took the opinion that the January 6th Capitol attack should be classified as such. However, the 9 Supreme Court justices viewed it very differently. In a unanimous ruling, they said that states may disqualify a person from holding state office, but have no power to prevent a person holding federal office, especially the presidency. The former president reacted on social media, writing in capital letters, "Big win for America." He also spoke at his Mar-a-Lago residence in Florida, saying that the unanimous decision was very well crafted and would go a long way towards bringing the country together. He'd earlier predicted that a ruling against him would bring chaos and bedlam to the United States. Colorado Secretary of State Jenna Griswold said the state should be able to bar oath-breaking insurrectionists from the ballot. The Supreme Court's decision is being seen as the most consequential since the 2000 election, when it essentially handed the presidency to George W. Bush by ordering the vote recount in Florida to stop, denying Al Gore. The court's judgment also overturns similar ballot bans on Trump in the states of Maine and Illinois, and on challenges in a further 14 states, which are still pending. Trump remains the likely candidate to become the Republican Party nominee to challenge Democrat Joe Biden for the White House in November's presidential election. Nick Harper in Washington, reporting for DD India.
Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump are expected to continue their respective marches towards the presidential nominations for their parties on Tuesday, when 15 US states and 1 territory are set to vote. So-called Super Tuesday sees the most Americans go to the polls on a single day in the presidential primary season. Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
She's lost every primary contest, bar one, to rival Donald Trump. But former US Ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, is still fighting to win the Republican presidential nomination.
Some people wonder why Nikki Haley would stay in all the way to Super Tuesday, even though she didn't have much of a chance. And the reason is she's looking to lay some groundwork for 2028. She's going to be around, and the 3 key ingredients to winning a primary contest in the United States are endorsements, campaign contributions in terms of fundraising, and volunteers. The longer she can stay in, the longer she can build those relationships that could potentially help her next time.
But this time, it very much looks like it's Trump's turn again.
Wow, this is a nice crowd.
The former president's expected to make a clean sweep on Super Tuesday. But analysts say that with Haley still in the race, the results could tell us more about where the battleground states in November might be.
But I think it is going to make more clear who are the people that are not satisfied with Trump and that might be more likely to not vote. And so that's going to be, those are the voters are then going to become the swing voters. Those are the voters that both Trump and Biden are going to be fighting over. But where that middle ground is always a changing landscape. And so where Haley does well is at least one way of articulating who those people are.
And US President Joe Biden will need the support of every last one of them in November as he continues to trail Trump in several national polls. But with no real challenger in his own party's primary, he's all but assured victory.
What we're really looking for in a primary election isn't whether or not Joe Biden wins by 90 or 95%. What we're really looking at is the number of people he's able to energize and get out to vote, even though there's not much to vote for.
Turnout numbers could give an indication of how enthusiastic Democrats are about their party's likely nominee.
There may be less suspense than usual over the results of this year's Super Tuesday, but the results could offer us a glimpse of the potential strengths and weaknesses of Joe Biden and Donald Trump as they prepare for a likely rematch in November's presidential election. In Washington, Kate Fisher reporting for DD India.
France has become the first country to enshrine the right to access abortion services into its constitution. Lawmakers and senators overwhelmingly approved the changes in a rare joint session of parliament at the Chateau of Versailles. The time limit has since been extended to 14 weeks with the cost of the procedure covered by the National Health Insurance System. DD India correspondent Ross Cullen reports.
The Congress has adopted the constitutional bill on the freedom to have access to abortion, as approved by the 3/5 majority of votes cast.
Majorité requise pour l'adoption du...
Well, the historic vote took place on Monday at the Chateau of Versailles. It was a joint session of Parliament, which is a pretty rare event. MPs and senators coming together to vote, more than 900 parliamentarians in the famous former royal palace, voting on whether or not they wanted to enshrine the right to access an abortion into the French constitution. This policy had easily passed the lower house in January, it passed the upper house in February. This was the final parliamentary hurdle and it cleared it with an overwhelming majority, 780 MPs and senators combined voting in favour and just 72 against.
Nous pouvons changer le cours de l'histoire.
Women's body are nothing but an empire of their freedom and their free will. And ladies and gentlemen, not a tool for a project that is not their own.
Léguée, celle d'appartenir à un peuple.
Notre constitution n'est pas seulement la base de notre ordre juridique.
Our constitution is not only the basis of our judicial order. It is a foundation of our republic, the reflection of our values, and so the freedom to have access to abortion has its place in it, and the world guaranteed ensure that it will never be put into question. Not the facts, not as a law, not today, not tomorrow, not by anyone, never.
Par quiconque.
Abortion has been legal in France since 1975, and some on the right said there's no immediate legal or judicial threat to the right to access pregnancy termination services. But lawmakers in the left and centre looked at what happened in 2022 in the United States when the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, which overturned the constitutional right to access abortion services. And they said, we can't risk that happening here in France. We want to go further than just having abortion as legal. We want abortion access to be constitutionally protected. The next stage and the final stage will be President Emmanuel Macron on Friday carrying out the official signing ceremony. It will be March the 8th, and that is no accidental date. That will be this year's International Women's Day. Ross Cullen in Versailles reporting for DD India.
And NATO has kicked off its military exercises in the Nordic countries with more than 20,000 soldiers participating in the war games. Among the co-hosts are Finland, the newest member of the 31-nation military alliance, and Sweden, about to become the 32nd member. The joint defense exercise, which runs until 14th of March, intends to demonstrate a unique level of cooperation and interoperability as they cross borders on land, sea and air. UN nuclear watchdog Chief Rafael Grossi plans to discuss Russia's plans for the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in Ukraine with Russian President Vladimir Putin this week. In a press conference of quarterly meeting of his agency's 35-nation board of governors to mark the second anniversary of Russian forces seizing the Zaporizhzhia plant, Grossi said he is due to leave for Russia on Tuesday. Zaporizhzhia, Europe's largest nuclear power plant, has lost its connection to all its external power lines 8 times in the past 18 months. Well, you're watching DD India Live and time now for sport. The India men's and women's table tennis team made history on Monday as both the teams qualified for the Olympics for the first ever time on the basis of world rankings. Despite losing their quarter-final games at ITTF World Table Tennis Team Championships that were held in Busan, both the men and women's teams have secured their spots for the 2024 Paris Olympics. This will be for the first time that India competes in the table tennis team event at the Olympics since its inception at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.